All right, let me do one little slide here because it's the only time I kind of do it here. The one thing I kind of pride myself on here for most of our sessions is I will not talk about any products that I necessarily sell, offer, or anything else. So my only time to kind of pitch myself is right here. So a little information on me and why I asked you to kind of listen to me. Been in the digital space now a little over 25 years. Started out on the government military side of things, tracking lovely drug dealers and other people all around the country and finding their cash. Yeah. So if anybody has an ex-wife they're looking for, let me know. I can always help. So those things are good from there. I've also built out the back ends for Fox, Cox, as well as CBS. So I've got a lot of experience on the media side from there before kind of opening my own thing. I also teach at University of Florida. I also teach at University of South Florida. So if you ever need a little extra credits there for your internships, let me know. We can always work out things from that standpoint. Okay. We do have a booth. We are right outside the Resource Center. So if you do have any questions afterwards, you feel free to come up here. Feel free to meet me out there. The other thing I would tell you, it's an interactive session, meaning the factor is, if you got a question, just ask. Okay. You don't have to wait for me or anything else from there. Just bring up what you want to go from and go from that forward. All right. So what I want to talk about today is something that's a little confusing, okay? And I say that in the nicest way. Everybody should be, at this point, working on an omni-channel marketing system. But when I say omni-channel marketing system, people go, okay, what is it? And then I have to go through the explanation of it, and they go, no, I'm not doing any of those things. So most of us are very familiar with multi-channel. Multi-channel is simply that. You're using different channels to advertise and to market. Most of the time, those are going to be your TV, your radio, your direct mail, any sort of email pieces, anything else that you might do from there. Pretty standard. But the messages have a tendency to be different things. While you go, well, no, I put my sales message on the email one, and I put the sales message on the radio ad, and they were all the same sales message, but they don't go to necessarily the same customer. Because even though you're trying to target, you're targeting things typically pretty broad. I target everybody 2554, I target everybody 1849, I target everybody in these zips, but there's no specifics on those things. So it's got a kind of a multi-message. Cross-channel says, okay, well, I know kind of who the customers are, so I'm going to kind of get there, and I'm going to hit them with a couple messages, but sometimes those messages can be a little confusing and they don't get the messages all at the same time. And this is kind of where we're finding a lot of organizations right now, is they're somewhere stuck between here and here. Omni has a major change though for you, because Omni allows you to utilize data that you already have and that you have about current customers, using that to help find new customers, but also using it to enhance your sales. So that's why I want to kind of help you guys walk through how this works and where it kind of goes from there. So let's kind of define Omni, because I will tell you there's lots of definitions and everybody has a different one. The easiest way I look at it on here, to make it a little less, as I always call it, it's vague, there's no real simple way to put it. It's utilizing the information that you have in your hand with the information that you have available through data, and then turning that to market to somebody with a customized and personalized message. Because we all react better to seeing a message that is more defined to us. Generic messages sometimes end up becoming white noise in advertising. So we don't want to have generic, but we tend to go generic, or my worst, somebody pukes all over something. Let me tell you about this and this and this and this. And it's all over or something, and it doesn't really tell me what you do. So we want to focus that message up. And the reason we want to focus that message up is because it's a higher conversion rate. Omnichannel marketing has been proven to actually increase conversion rates greatly, and that's why we want to kind of move in that direction. The biggest part of it is personalization. Personalizing a message, though, is challenging, because if you don't know who you're talking to, how do I personalize it? And then what do you mean by personalize? Well, here's a great kind of way to think about it. If you sold somebody a dining room set 6 months ago, do you think they need another dining room set? Okay, but if your main lead picture that you're going to put off because, hey, I got a great deal on this dining room set, and you send it to that same person again, is that going to make them happy? Is it going to make them engage with you again? Probably not. But if I know they bid dining room, then I don't need to send them the dining room one. But What's the next thing that they might have purchased? What should the salesperson have made notes on that customer to say things they would be interested in the future? What were the steps that we taken to know where's my next purchase cycle? The one thing that's really nice about our industry is you have a chance when you're talking to somebody to get a sense of who they are. What are you trying to do? What would you like to see in your home? What would be the next things that you would do? What's the first place you want to fix? What's the next thing you'd want to fix? What's the things you hate? What are your favorite colors? All those information pieces can be collected. And it's really challenging because, and I want to say this in the nicest way because I've referred to them that way a couple times. There's a couple of these booths, not booths here, but the ones farther out, to where I call them the 1980s and 90s used car salesmen that are walking around out there. And they don't really do much. They still don't have a tablet in their hand. They're not taking down any information. They go, yeah, I know who you are. I've been there when your dad owned the store and this. I've been here the whole time. Let me tell you about these great couches and chairs I got over here. And that's great, but all they know is that you have a badge and that you're at the store. They don't know anything else about what you're doing. How's your store moved? Where is it going? What's the directions? They're not asking questions. They're not doing a CNA, okay? Because they're here to just move the product. That's what you can't let your salespeople do. If your salespeople aren't engaging with a customer to really talk to them and understand what their goals and needs and wants are, then how do I layer them up? And when I mean layer them, how do I increase the ability to, what's the next product? What's the next opportunity? How do I pull them back in? Okay? That's what personalization is about, is adding those pieces in. So when you look at that, lovely tablet somebody's walking around with, or if you don't have a tablet, if you're still taking down notes, what are the things that we want to enter in there? If somebody got financing from you and they only used half of the financing, they still got half to use. That's the way I look at it. That's another chance for them to buy something else. Okay, they may not want to spend the extra $150 a month, but you know what? I just can't get away from that sectional. I love that sectional so much. Man, I wish I could do that right now. Note, that sectional goes on sale. Who do I want to call? I'll let that person know. The salesperson's never going to follow up on it, but the computer can. The computer can track all that, put all those things, so it's an opportunity to make those personalized decisions. So, 4 steps to kind of think about. First one and the hardest one, get everybody on board. And when I talk about everybody, everybody is from the driver who drops something off to the person who says, hi, welcome to, right at the front, okay? Data and information collection starts the moment you have any conversation with that customer to the moment you finish with that customer. The hardest thing for people to understand is that a customer believes when they've purchased something from you that they're still your customer for a period of time. A lot of times a salesperson says, you're only my customer until you can't see me waving anymore. I used to have a great car dealer in Hawaii that says, you've got a guarantee on your car as long as you can see me waving. It is this big tower thing of him waving in there. And it was great because for most of the island, you could see this silly thing. Okay, and that was his whole sales pitch. And I feel like that's how salespeople look at it. Like, you're still good. Oh, can't see me anymore. You're no longer my customer. Commission's collected. The reality is for a customer, there's a time period of, I love this, but I don't love it. I wanted it. It's in. Did I really like it? Did I make the right decision? Can it remind me that I did the right, who's going to remind me? Well, the salesperson goes, hey, how's it look in the house? Can you send me a picture? Does it really fit as well as you were hoping it did? Do that little bit of follow-up there. Oh, they do care. All right, cool. This does look great. Where's the follow-up steps? Are they pre-programmed in your system to do that? Or is it somebody hoping that's going to happen? You'll hear it multiple times, hope's not a business plan. Okay, a lot of this can be pre-programmed in now to any CRM tool. And I say any CRM tool. I'm talking CRM tools from the 90s have the ability to program some of this stuff in here. So you don't have to go out and buy the fanciest Salesforce with blah, 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 blah hooked onto it and spend tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, a $300 CRM can do all of this. Okay, it's not an expensive tool, but having the ability to follow up, have those conversations, extends that from, bless you, extends that from, yeah, I bought that to, wow, these guys care. These guys really, you know what, if you're going to get furniture, you should talk to them. They did this, they delivered. You want that engagement and carrying somebody forward. So look at your in-house data. What do you have? What are you collecting? How much of it's in real time? How much of it's there? And then what can we put behind it? So So a lot of people think in terms of predictive analytics as it's some sort of, voodoo magic, anything else. How many of you, and you don't have to take pictures, I'm going to give you every single slide. I'm going to save you a lot of work. Okay? If you want them, as you do those little scans, it's the one thing she didn't mention, you can just say, I want the slide deck, and we'll send the slide deck right over to you. That saves a lot of people a lot of camera pictures and things later. Okay? Predictive analytics nowadays, how many of you have heard of ChatGPT? Okay? AI? It's free, guys. It's free. You can actually run your entire database through ChatGPT, and it will tell you who it is, who's your most common customer, what their income bases are, and everything else for a whopping cost. Now, you may go, I don't know how to do that. That's okay. Guess what? You ask ChatGPT, how do I do this? And guess what it does? It spells out exactly how to do it. Okay? I will be the first one to tell you, I will be glad I'm going to be dead in 25 years because Terminator is real. Sorry, but it's going to happen. But that's where the AI is going. We are moving very quickly to a world where it will really help do you in a lot of things, but you've got to utilize those tools when they present themselves. And this is a very cool tool that will present itself with lots of opportunities to take all of this data that you have and start doing that predictive analysis of who's your best customer. Where do you have the best opportunities? What are the best zip codes? Where's the best delivery? What are the products that you're seeing most often? What did I put on sale that I got the most reaction from? The other piece in this, and you'll see in there it says MMS. How many of you guys are sending MMS text? Very good. Anybody else? Does anybody know what an MMS text is? Yes, no, maybe? It's a multimedia image. So it's when you get a text as a picture. You ever seen those where you get a picture of a text and it has some copy after it? A regular text only has usually about 160 characters to it, and you got to save about 20 to say, hey, you want to opt out of this text or not? A multimedia text will actually allow you to put a picture in 1,500 words. So I can tell a story, okay? The way I always think about it is those silly political ads, because when the politicians send you one, you want to just choke them, but they seem like they just put in there an entire diatribe in it, okay? But they're huge. But there's so much opportunity in those because I can show what's on special, what's this, I can tell a story and I can talk to you. So when you have this data, how do you want to take advantage of it? How do I want to utilize it? What are the things I want to do to drive this customer? It's not just about driving the customer, but understanding who's my next customer. Currently, most stores, about 63% of your current shoppers are pre-shoppers. They've already shopped you before, they bought from you before. Okay, it's better than 50%. The reality is you should be at 70, 72. That's pretty scary. But what does that mean as a difference? I want you to think about it in terms of how many of you have a certain restaurant that you love, that you go to every single week or at least twice a month, okay? If you went to that restaurant one more time a month than you do now, what would that change as far as the percentage of sales of what you spent? In the furniture side of things, one of the challenges that we find is everybody's so concerned about getting that online customer. How do I move that online customer? How do I move that online customer? But the online customer's average spend ticket's $250. Brick and mortar customers, $1,500, $1,600. I'd like more brick and mortar customers than I want online customers, but there's a bridge there too. How do I kind of shift that? What's the things that these guys aren't getting? What can I move over? So understanding who do you want, where do you want, what's the part of that customer, and how do I want to utilize them? Getting somebody to shop you more often doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to shop me multiple $1,600 sales, but maybe it's a $1,600, but they also came back for $300 or $400 of other stuff because, again, they felt like you guys care, you guys understand, you know my favorite color is blue, you know that I've been working on my kitchen and the contractor's nuts and this is crazy and I haven't been able to get this light fixture I've been waiting on for. You've heard it all. Okay, all those things are in those notes you can kind of follow up and go through with. So in this data, there's a couple places it comes in. So zero-party data, my favorite, self-reported. Customer tells you everything about them. Okay, there is a store, and I'm not saying it does it perfectly, but there's a store that actually has the tablet and says, we want to help you pick the absolute perfect couch for you. And what they do is they go through, tell me everything about how you sit. What do you use your couch for? What do you do this? And it is a complete CNA on a sofa. The reason they say they do this is because they make custom furniture. Okay, not saying custom furniture doesn't exist, but in today's world, the word custom furniture sometimes just means the upholstery is different or the legs are different. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody's truly making a couch with different inches and spans of cushions and all those types of things. But in doing that, what they've done is they've got somebody to really describe how and what they would love to have. They're taking this information, which is self-reported, and they're utilizing it to then build against their first party what's the most common types of couches that fit the same thing that people like and people buy. So they're taking their own data and going, oh, well, we know people who say these things tend to buy these two models. So I'm going to walk you over to one of these two models because my chance of closing you on these two models goes to here. So I don't have to walk the whole store and make you sit on 17 products. Walk you to these two. Based on what you said, these would be the best two items for you. And I can tell you why. Because I can match it to some of the things you said. It's using that data wisely. Again, if you notice, I haven't talked about advertising. This is what you have already. Okay, these are internals. Second party data, this is where it gets fun. Here's your indirect and your shared. You have the ability to put tracking pixels on your websites. What's a tracking pixel? So a tracking pixel actually picks up everybody who comes to your website, gives you their name, their address, their email, their phone number, and 160 other characteristics about them. So I can turn around and give you how they have cats and dogs, what kind of car they drive, the complete VIN number blown out, all kinds of data about them. Things that you'd go, oh my God, I'd never want to go on a website again. You're right, you don't, okay? But all of this data is available to people because they come to a website. If you've noticed, a lot of websites nowadays ask you, will you accept my cookies? Okay, does anybody understand what that means? Okay, well, let me ask this, what do you think it means?
It means can they place basically track information and you can sometimes specify limitations of what they can track and not track.
Yes, and on top of that, it also means from a data standpoint, if you accept their cookies, they can watch all the purchases and things that you do and monitor all the way through their system. So a basic simple cookie that we don't think about, most of us use a banking system of some kind. When you put your password in your banking system and you go, I hate having to remember it every time, go ahead and remember me. That's a cookie. Once you put that in, now the banking system can see how often you come in, how often, everything. It's a cookie. That's all it is. It is you giving permission on something level. Right now, 55% of the folks that go to a website either track no or do nothing. 45% go, yeah, sure, go ahead. One, because either they don't understand, they don't know, whatever. But they go ahead and see it as a good thing because they either trust the brand, and they come into it. Data tracking pixels don't require the cookie. The only place that's required right now is California and Colorado because they have privacy law sets that are a little different. Okay? Virginia has a new privacy law set, but it's not specified against data tracking pixel. So you'll see it a lot of times. The one I always think of that people run into is anybody's ever gone to Rocket Mortgage in your entire life. The first thing that happens is Rocket Mortgage sends you an email or gives you a phone call while you're still on the page going, hey, how can I help you? You're like, I haven't even finished filling it out because they have instantly put that right over to somebody to do it. That's scary, okay? I'm not asking anybody to do that. What I'm looking at is though is if you know who's coming to your site and you now take that information of who's coming in, again, against what you know buys, who's my best opportunity? Not everybody who comes to a website buys. Going to a website's curiosity. What do you have? What do you do? Where are you? What's your hours? But there's people in there who come back 2, 3 times. When you get beyond curiosity, you move to buyer. I want to know that. I want to know somebody's come back multiple times. That's an opportunity. And sadly, most people's websites are set up like a store with no salesperson. I can walk in, I can stroll around, I can knock stuff over, and nobody cares because you don't know. How many of you have retargeting pixels on your site? Yeah. Every site out there has to have a retargeting pixel on it. The first time somebody comes to your site, it's curiosity. Second or third time, it's for conversion. If you're not doing anything to follow up with somebody, then you literally just let somebody walk in a store, didn't say hi to them, had your head down at a computer, and they walked all the way through and they left. Now, we've all had that happen to us. How many times do you leave that store going, well, geez, that was rude? Okay, the retargeting pixel doesn't have to be obnoxious, but it should be something that talks to what's the other feature or benefit of doing business with you. What did I maybe not see on the website? What are some of the things that if I work with you, it makes it different? And then the last one up here is third party. Now, for the most part, third party services are going away. Google is kind of like the last holdout. Almost everybody else has gotten rid of third party. Google doesn't want to get rid of it because, quite honestly, it means millions and millions of dollars for them. So they've been holding out. They keep going, oh, you're going to get rid of it at the end of 22. Maybe sometime middle of 23. Okay, we're going to do it beginning of 24. They keep stretching it out there. Part of this is, and I can tell you just because from working there for a while, they haven't figured out how to properly use a division they call Deep Thought, how they take the information from Deep Thought and create customized advertising that will fit and fill the void of third party. They're about that close. Once they get that, you're going to see a whole new world of ads that we've never seen, and I expect we'll see that sometime in Q3. The way it is, if for those who are really tech junkies, they just basically cleared house in Deep Thought, moved a bunch of bodies around, took the AI division, crushed it into one, because this is all they're focused on. So it should be a kind of a fun scenario of seeing how they kind of pull this through. But a lot of third-party data that's out there is your manufacturing data. Manufacturing data says, this is who we're seeing across the board. Here's what we hear. Here's what we know. Okay, mattress third-party data is my favorite. It is very low on accuracy, and I say that in the nicest way. They have all kinds of information, but most of it is about that effective. They know the generalized person across thousands of sales, and they kind of come up with these broad statements. But because they're broad, they're not necessarily fitting the customers where you are, your market, or anything else. So targeting. So we start putting that personalized message together. What's it going to be? What are we going to say? You know, I can't say, hey, Amy, you know, I got a great mattress for you. It's perfect, you know, because I know you like to snuggle with your dog. So here, this one there, you get, the fur comes right off of it, and this is great for you. I can't do that, okay? I would love to, but that becomes ultra creepy, okay? Personalized messages is more about making sure that your messaging is timed out properly based on what somebody's looking for, what somebody's shopping, what somebody's bought in the past, what somebody's interests are, what things fit things they've said they're interested in the past. So you're segmenting the audience into clusters. And there are going to be people who fit into multiple clusters. But you're giving them personalized ads based on that, which instead of running one copy, you're running 12 or 14. That makes people go, oh, I hate building one ad. Okay? Again, AI, back to the rescue. I know like on our end, we've built out a tool between AI and Canva. Anybody ever use Canva? Okay. We built out a tool with AI and Canva. We can build ads in 5 minutes. It pulls all your PMSs in, all your colors in, everything else, pulls all the photos in, and all you got to do is say what you want it for, and it looks at who your past customer is and creates ads. All out. Guess how much it cost? $5. You can build as many ads as you want for $5. So it's a great way of creating things to touch people quickly based on what they're doing. So we talked about that data pixel. If you're building those ads, you want to go, okay, where do I want to go? Do I want to look at somebody whose home value? Am I looking at it based on their credit score? Am I looking at how much money they make? You can separate your folks into all kinds of categories of how it fits for you, okay? But you have to decide, is that fair, okay? So This person here is $80,000 to $90,000. They're a 63-year-old female with an 800 plus English-speaking household. House is over $750,000, driving a 2009 Mercedes. Okay, that sounds like a fantastic customer. Okay, but what happens when you turn over 60? Do they acquire or do they start to hold? They start to hold. Okay, they spend less money, but the money they do spend, they buy better products that last longer and better quality because they don't plan on buying them again. Okay, so she bought that 2009 Mercedes because, let's face it, even if I went and grabbed a 1980s Mercedes, they don't look that much different than the ones now. The headlights are a little different, but yes, they kind of, the hold the same, the body looks the same, so they're used to holding on. So I may want to look in that age range and go, in this client here, 64, 64, 53, 73, 52, what does that tell me about the marketing for that client? Who are they marketing to? Well, they're marketing to a segment audience that eventually is going to run out for them. Okay? That's the other advantage sometimes of these data pixels, is it gives you information to see, are you capturing the audience you think you're capturing? We can see who's actually coming to the site, not necessarily who's just coming to the store. I will tell you this particular client, because him and I have discussions about this all the time, he only wants women 45 plus with a certain amount of income, certain things. The problem is, the first thing he complains about is our store is full of old people and they're dying off. And I'm like, you can't tell me one thing and then do another. But the reality is, the reason he likes this span in here of age is because when they spend money, they spend big money. His average ticket is $5,800. He likes the higher ticket. The exact same style store went, I don't want this. I want somebody just a little less. They're actually right next to him because, again, one of those kind of fun qualitatives. He didn't see them as competition. I said, they're mega competition for you. They shifted their demos down, sell the exact same furniture. They're outselling him by square foot in retail money with less stores, going after a younger audience with a lower ticket. So same products, just not all the highest end of the product. So I don't have to sell the highest hooker product here. I can put a couple other things in and we mix a couple of highs and lows. One of my retailers told me the one time is, you got to put that special product out there that you almost not quite lose money on, but it's really close, because once they realize they got the cheapest on that one product, you know what? They don't research the rest of the stuff. They go, I must have got that cheap, so everything else in here must be one of the best prices ever. And he promotes off of one or two main products to get people into the store, loss leaders as we call them, and then they get in there, oh, I'm going to add this to it and add this to it, and they don't look at the prices of the other ones as comparison because they compared that one they wanted. I was looking for who had the best price on this, and you happen to have it. So he overbuys that one product, puts the most in. That's great. Is that a theory I would use for everybody? No. But for him, that's working for him. In this case here, when you look at his information side for that particular client, his main clientele is between 20 and 35, mostly under $60,000 in income in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. Okay, he's not selling high end. Okay, this client here is in very higher ends like Boca Raton areas and such. He's selling high end. So there's a client difference. So it's looking at what's your difference, what do you need, and make sure we're using the information the right way. The other thing you want to be able to track is where people are going and where they're coming from. So this is Walker Furniture in Vegas. This is looking at who comes in their store by cell phone traffic. There's a program out there, we have access to it, we give it to clients, called Placer AI. If you've never used Placer AI, you will lose yourself in there for easily hours and find it the most entertaining thing if you love data. I'm a data geek, technically I'm called a data scientist, so I do get out, a little geek out on it. But what it does is Placer AI has the only legal rights to follow your phone no matter what your location ID is turned on or off, because it's for placing for warrants. So if you happen to be like a South Carolina lawyer that might have killed his family or might not have killed his family, but we want to know where your phone was at the particular time when it was just before your family got shot, and you want to file a warrant for that, I can look up and say, hey, your phone was right there, somehow only about a minute and a half before that person was shot, but it got turned off. So it kind of says you might have been in that area. That's who uses Placer AI, okay? Because the warrants will come back from Placer. Well, Placer said we can't make enough money selling warrant technology. Okay, not enough murderers, I guess. So what they did is they took this and then they framed it around watching all the cell phones and put it into a retail categories and mapped all the major retailers out there. So they will let us see what people were doing, where they went, where they go to after. So before somebody walks into Walker, 3% of the customers that walk into Walker Furniture were at Home Depot. 0.5% were at a tile store. 0.5% were at Floor Decor. But 0.6 there was sitting at Ashley Furniture. But I look on the other side, we lost a little less than 0.5 to Ashley Furniture. So it helps me look to see where are we losing people and where are we gaining from. Bob's doesn't show up over here, but Bob shows up over here. So why is Bob's Furniture taking customers from us, but not where we're getting customers from? These traffic information, again, adds more data for you to let you understand who's coming after you and where's your opportunities. If you understand how customers flow, then it understands why somebody's coming to see you over another one. So it's a great way of measuring from a retail standpoint what somebody's doing. Now, his stores aren't chains, so you'll see I have it just spelled as Walker, and you'll see it in here, same street, Henderson, North Carolina. So they also have the ability to do what we call a point of interest. So he has a store in Henderson, he has a store in North Vegas. He has, quote, an outlet slash mattress, whatever you want to call it, which is what that one's kind of centered around, which is next to the Henderson store. Trying to understand who's coming there in comparison to who's going there and how many of his people are walking in or going backwards and forwards from his own store. There's a lot of retailers out there who now have a mattress store across the street with a different name than their current retailer. It's not uncommon, but you have cross customers. It's easy when you're inside. Hey, go to my friend over here at American Mattress and go get a mattress. And you realize it's part of your own ownership. But there are also people going across the street to the other mattress store and you forgot to tell them to go to yours. So we need to understand how customers are flowing, where they're flowing, and educate the salespeople on where to go. One of my favorites, though, in this, and while In-N-Out would not be my favorite, is following the restaurants. Furniture shopping is an ordeal. A lot of these you will see a restaurant before and a restaurant after. It's the restaurant typically close to your location, because after they've been in there for 2 hours and they've looked at everything, they go, let's go get lunch, let's go get dinner, and let's discuss it. One of my stores has a Miller Ale House literally just out in the front of the parking lot. That Miller Ale House has 32% of the traffic that does not go home or does not go back to work goes to that Miller Ale House, before or after. Well, that's an opportunity, because if you're sitting there talking about what you've seen or what you're getting ready to go see in my store, why wouldn't I want to put a geofence on top of that location and tell you all the great reasons why to do business with me? Not about buying this, but why I'm the best person to do business with. I want to use the information at hand, so I'm not manipulating a customer, I'm just following customer patterns. But again, it's personalized. I know where you're going to be, I know what you're going to do, because the case of this store where it has lots of what I call honey-do list items, they go to that store, it's like a honey-do list. I gotta go to Home Depot, I gotta go to Lowe's, let's stop by Walker and see if the bed's on sale, let's do this. It's a honey-do list. There are some stores, especially the high-end stores, that's not a honey-do list. We're going there, we're gonna find that dining room set today, honey, let's go. And they're going to 3 stores and there's a mapped out and here's the pattern. They're out to do it. But if you know what the pattern is, you can get ahead of it, because the patterns for people don't change very much. We are animals. At the end of the day, we're all little animals and we follow patterns. I want to use the patterns. That's what personalization is, okay? going the wrong direction there. So, test and repeat. One of the things about omnichannel marketing is once you understand a pattern, once you see something, once you personalize something, you have to utilize it. You have to try it. You have to test it with a different type of copy. You have to see what you can put together to make it more effective, and then see if it works. You have to have measurement tools. One of the things I find is a big challenge for everybody in the furniture business is they don't have a measurement tool for anything. It's sales. Sales isn't a measurement tool. We would love to call it one. It's the final stick. Hey, if I'm making more money, it's great. Did my traffic increase? Did my closing ratio go up? Did the size of my order go up? These are all measurement tools. We look at them for our salespeople, but we don't necessarily look at them for our advertising. We should. If you're spending money on something, it should have a higher return on ad spend, a ROAS. Okay? We want to see if that's returning. In the world of digital, 15 days you will start to see something. By the end of 30 days, you know whether it's working or not. The rinse and repeat doesn't take 6 months, doesn't take a year. It's pretty quick. I got 15 days to see if that ad worked or that ad didn't work. All right, so really what we're talking about is just stacking data. Take your in-house data, with some data pixel stuff, your store traffic, you put it together. That's all this is. Didn't mention buying ads, anything else, it's just using data. That breaks that cycle. Now you've got it going from all kinds of different channels to more seamless. Everything's interconnected, everything's focused on that customer. How do I drive that customer going through? So what's my benefit? Why do I want to do this? It seems like a lot of work. It seems like a pain in the butt. You're right. I agree with you. It's hard. But the reason it's worth doing and the reason you want to do this is right here. When this started rolling out several years ago, it was a big challenge. Data wasn't as easy to collect. Information wasn't there like it used to be. And we had to fight for a lot of this. Now, a lot of this stuff's really simple to do. And a lot of it's free. Why wouldn't you want to increase your sales side 100, 200, almost 300%? Okay? And I'm not talking about only when it's like COVID, everybody's got money and we're throwing it out like it. No. We started doing this in the down cycle last time. We were seeing improvements. We built this because of the down cycle the last time, when the real estate market had fallen out for all kinds of other odd reasons. This works, and it works really nice. It's just understanding that it's a change, and change is not always welcomed. It's not always fun. It's not always easy. But when you do that change, you have a higher percentage. You move your closing ratios up, and customers spend more money. Why are they spending more money? Because I like you. You understood me. You listened to me. You gave me what I wanted, and you followed up with me. And matter of fact, you told me about this other cool special that came up a couple weeks later, and I came in and bought that. I'm moving the sales up. Okay? That's all it is. It's about follow-up and carry-through. It's all done electronically, helping it move that process forward. When you do this and you kind of build that customer loyalty side, it also builds referral. One of the things that we're all very proud of is we can say, hey, so-and-so referred us. We got that through a referral. We didn't have to spend any ad money. That was great. That was the cheapest sale possible. You're right. This done right, your advertising budget does this, not this. Anytime we start talking about bad economic times and everything else, the first thing that gets cut is ad budgets. It's not necessarily how it should be, but it's what happens. Why? Because I can't always prove I spend $1, get $1. Here, spend $1, you're going to see 5 or 6. So it makes it very easy to show and cut dollars on the other side. This is where when we start adopting these strategies, we see major changes inside of businesses. We see changes inside of size orders, number of customers, repeat customers, financings, everything. Nope, wrong way again. So, a couple key takeaways. What's the first thing that you need to do? See how many people are paying attention. Dun, 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 dun. Anybody?
Everybody on board?
Get everybody on board. What's the second? You can look it up, that's fine.
Start using your data the right way.
Yeah, just look at it. You gotta go look, see what you're gonna do with your data, okay? Place the ideas together, put it in that side of it, okay? It's really just moving that needle, and it is an adoption process, guys. I'm not expecting everybody to walk out of here and go, do it tomorrow. It's not, it's an adoption process. But if you do it the right way, it's a very inexpensive way to really drive sales and really help you move that needle up. And that's really what we're looking at. There are tons of programs out there, even if, whether it's Client Book, Podium, or something else that we do, there's a lot of customer retention management tools that if you don't have something in place, you can put in place very easily and move those things forward that makes that process go. So if you don't have a simple CRM, somebody always has one, and whether it's on a monthly basis or a permanent basis, but it's a very simple place to start and kind of move those things forward.
Can I add something you said
Sure.
Saturday was about copy, making sure your copy was correct. So before you put all this stuff into place, make sure that, especially for these age demographics, making sure the copy hits the certain people. Like, for instance, I run 5 different photos a week, and each photo has 15 different lines of copy. So this one photo might make it to Florida for this demographic, and this copy is going to go with it. And then the same photo might go to Michigan and hit a different age demographic, and it has this line of copy. And that's where you can use some of the AI tools to write that copy for you, because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, after writing 15 lines of copy for each picture and then doing the same thing for video, it gets a little daunting.
So, let's see if I can pull it up here. This lovely lady here, of course I want to put her to come up here. So this is at the Atlanta market, this lovely lady here. She does social pieces for me. And her job simply is to go around and make stuff look good, okay? Get the right pictures, get the right light. She brings 25 outfits to Atlanta market. It's annoying, okay? I know because I have to pay for it. But the whole thing is because she has to look different for the different customers. Because if I look at her right now, that gives me that bohemian vibe. That's that late Gen Z or older Gen Z, younger millennial side of thing. Not my kind of thing. But I dress her up, put the different, because no judgment, but she has different hairs that she brings with her. Put a different hairstyles in there, and everything's on that side. She looks like she's 40. But she's doing them for different social captures. So she can talk to different audiences in different ways, to your point, so it looks different, okay? She's very good at it, okay? To where she can utilize what she does best, which is social media in the right ways, and help promote and sell items, because we can't always have every item in a store. So we'll send her up to a market and let her capture everything that we need to do, and she can do it in multiple things all in a day. And it makes it really easy to work with and kind of do those things together. So it's making sure we can utilize people in the right way.
And filter your ads for the season too. Because
Correct.
If it's colder outside, you want to make the picture seem warm and inviting. If it's hot outside, you want to make sure that chair or sofa, that looks cool to sit on.
It's my least favorite thing about automotive is I always love seeing the ad of the car driving along the coastline with mountains in the background. And I live in Florida.
Yeah.
For those who haven't been in Florida, basically it's a flat state. I live in one of the highest points of Florida, which is Claremont. It's a whopping 265 feet above sea level. Okay, only there because my wife said it's least likely we'll die first. Okay, so when the wave comes across, it takes out everybody else. I don't need to see a mountain. There is no such thing. Ours is called the hilly area of Florida, which is actually funny. So, it's one of those things that just doesn't happen. But you're right, but there's tons of people who just take the same co-op ads, throw pieces in, and it's because they're selling it for Jared. For me, summertime is winter in Florida. We stay in. Otherwise, we go out all the time. So when everybody comes down to see Mickey Mouse, we hide. Because we ain't stupid enough. That's concrete. I'm not walking outside when it's concrete. You're cooking yourself. No. So it's just understanding where those seasonalities and markets are, and that's hard to do when people haven't been familiar with it. And that's why sometimes it's good to find local folks in different areas to help develop contents and pieces from there. All right. Well, thank you all for attending. As she said earlier, if you want to scan the cards, please give us your feedback side of things. If you would like a copy of the deck, please say so on there as well. We'll make sure that we send you a copy of the deck on the email side as well. That way you don't have that from pictures and such from there. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.